I have great pleasure to present before you one of the most important works in the annals of Indian musicological texts. The author of this great work, the Sangita-Shastra Grantha, was none other than the great Matanga Muni. And he was talking to his Shishya, one of the most prominent amongst his Shishya, called Narada, and the conversation in between the Muni and his Shishya, the Matanga and the Narada, happened to come out in the form of book Brihaddeshi. Now this Brihaddeshi is a very important text. In the very first and magnum opus Kannada edition was brought out by none other than our most important, one of the most important universities of Karnataka, that is the Hampi Kannada University, way back. And I'm happy to share with you that a Parishkrita Avruti, that is a re-edited version and more with a lot of other things added on to it and various other corrections and things like that, has happened, and that's coming out as a new edition and which will be shortly released for everybody who is interested. This is a very important classical text, and everybody who has to know about music, about Indian music, about Sangita, about Karnataka Sangita, most important about the Deshiyata of our culture, the Deshiyata of our music, needs to take at least one look at it. I urge you to just catch hold of one of these books as soon as possible and take it. Now, the original versions of the manuscript version of it is available on the internet through various sources. Rasurushi will shortly host all these manuscripts for you. You can just take a look at various downloads and download Brihaddeshi from Rasurushi Foundation. It's available on the net, it's available on the website, and many of you already know that it can be downloaded from the music research, Indian Music Research Library, hosted by that great Dr. N. Ramanathan from Chennai. Anyway, Brihaddeshi, for the first time, what was Marga Sangita? What was the Sangita in the Guru Mane, that is the house, the abode of the Guru? What was the Sangita in the royal palaces? What was the Sangita in every household in our great country Bharata? Was now seen as a Brihaddeshi Sangita by this great man, this Matanga Muni. And then he wrote this book, authored this book, Brihaddeshi. Brihaddeshi. Brihat is this Brihat Prapancha, the huge world of music. And Deshi is the various geological specifications and various cultural aspects of this Sangita. And now Matanga's genius was, he not only looked at the entire music, he also at the same time looked at each and every cultural consciousness of our world and looked at what happened to the music because of this, and then came up with one conclusion that while there is this huge variety, there is in reality, in the great Nada Pravaha, there is this concept, there should be this concept of Brihaddeshi Sangita. Since 5th century, the music of Bharata now acquired a huge turning point, and to this day we are enjoying the fruits of that great venture, of the fruits of that great toil that Matanga Muni did. Now this Grantha is a very huge Grantha. The original version of that Grantha is available in English version, published for the first time by the IGNCA, Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts in Delhi, and the great Premalata Sharma, Dr. Premalata Sharma, the great Sangita Acharya, with the help of one of her favorite Shishya, Dr. Anil Bihari Biohar, came up with this English version, and to this day it is a pramana. If somebody can get hold of this, it is worth the read. And many other versions have come, but in Kannada, this is the most authentic version by Mahamahopadhyaya or Satyanarayana, a great Sangita-acharya hailing from Karnataka, and it is the Karnataka's great presentation to the world to represent Bharatiya Sangita. He was a great Sangita-acharya and he penned it long ago. Now a few words about Matanga Muni. Matanga Muni, if you look at the Puranas of Bharata, if you look at Vedanga, if you look at the Upanishads, if you look at the Shakta traditions of our country, if you look at Sangita traditions of our country, everywhere, undoubtedly, without fail, you will definitely hear this name, Matanga, Matanga Muni. In Puranas, the name of Matangas abound. There is an Agama in his name called the Matanga Agama. And he was a great Srividya Upasaka. And I will tell you one very interesting thing. The Dhyana Shloka that he writes in this Brihaddeshi about Lalita Mahat Tripura Sundari, the Srividya Adhishtana Devata, is still being uttered and practiced by all sadhakas to this day in our country and everywhere in this world who wants to practice Sri Vidya. Such is the greatness of this man, Matanga Muni. And if you look at Puranas, if you look at other Shastras, wherever the Shastra Vakya is there, Matanga invariably comes and he is hailed as one of the great Pravartakas of our Agama and of our Sangita. And now Brihaddeshi. Brihaddeshi was a turning point in our lives. And hitherto, right from Bharata's time, what was just a Anushangika to Natya and Nataka as a whole, now took on a very important stage, and now Sangita was considered as a Samyak Gita. It came into existence as its own and with its own pramana, and for that Matanga Muni took the pramana from the Samaveda. He took that and he took the Samskrita grammar, and then he gave the pramana for Sangita to exist on its own as a means to achieve final emancipation and as a means to envision the finest of the aesthetics in our chitta. He could do it. He was a great agamik. He was a great Shaktagama exponent. He was a great Srividya Upasaka. And he was a great man. And was he born great? No. He was born in the lowest of the caste system of our country. And then when he went and had a very important talk with his mother, and what his mother said was a changing point in his life. And then later he came out, and out of his sheer perseverance and sadhana, he became a Brahmanya and he became a Muni for each and everybody who are adept in the Hindu way of life. Such is the greatness of this man. And now Brihaddeshi is a very important Grantha. Thanks to Matanga, we have Gaja Hridaya. Thanks to Matanga, we have Deshi Oshadha Lakshana, that is the tribal and folklore medicines. Thanks to Matanga, the entire country was united under one banner called the culture of music. He united the classical music, the folk music, the tribal music and the popular music also, and together, and he gave the bass as the nada, and he argued that every music, everybody, everywhere, whatever, whomsoever who sings in their own way, it is all Brihaddeshi Sangita. And now this book is a very important book, and the Deshaja Ragas that the Matanga has exposed in this just gives us a glimpse of the kind of vision he had during his times. If you just apply the various Deshaja Ragas to various deshas, geospecific deshas of our own country, you will travel from the Hampi, see, where the abode of Vijayanagar Empire, and today you can see the great Matanga Kottala, the Matanga various Matanga places are there. There is this Matanga-Bharatha, the Matanga hill, and there is this Matanga Kohala, where the Matanga was dwelling, and there is this Matanga where the Matanga sat along with his Shishya to do the bodhana of the Shastra and the Artha Chintana. And then from there you can see the Pattanadamma temple in Hampi, where he went and did the Sri Vidya Upasana. And from there you go to a huge, you travel in fact the entire India, you go to Gujarat, and from Gujarat you go to a little bit of the Pakistan, and then slowly go to the Vietnam, and then see a little of China, and from there you go to Burma, and then again enter Assam and come to the Brihaddeshi, that is the Tamil Nadu and Kerala and Ceylon, and then come back to Karnataka. That is why the Ragadhyaya of Brihaddeshi contains many ragas with the pretext of Karnata, like Karnata Bangala, Karnata Gaudi, etc. and so on and so forth. Now, you must remember that during those times, this great Muni had one-to-one interactions with all the music of this world with such huge geographic extension. And then he has put it all into Indian music, the very cream of that. And then he has standardized with prameya, that is with suitable logic, based on the Nyaya, that is the Indian logic. And then he uses the Samaveda, one amongst the four Vedas, as a Sangita Pramana for that. Then he uses great Upanishads like Chandogya Upanishad, and he uses all these Chandas and everything in the Bhashadhyaya as well as in the Prabandhadhyaya. And one of the Prabandhas he gives, everything belongs to Karnataka. He was so proud of Karnataka, and he was so proud of the music of the world which came into Karnataka. He was so devoted to the music that evolved, inspired by the music of Karnataka. Such is the greatness of this book. Huge seminars have happened based on the work of this Matanga. Huge discussions have happened. Lot of writing is there. Hundreds of articles are there. But as one collected, great, creamy, understandable, researchable thing, this book is there. You may ask a most important question now. What on earth is the use to read an old bygone era Shastra? Is it applicable to our contemporary music? I assure you, it is. If you read this book, if you take the Deshaja Ragas, if you look at the Grama mode of that music, and if you look at the Jati Jati Lakshana in that book, put it all together, think about it, mull on it, cogitate on it, you will be singing a magnificent experimented version of our Bharatiya Sangita. And in Karnataka, the Raga system of Karnataka is very much acclimatized to the Raga system that he has proposed in this book. So, if you want to sing Karnatagaula, Kachelli and all those wonderful Ragas, you will be doing a wonderful melodic, you will be creating a melodic universe in fact. It is worth to take a look. If you look at the Prabandhas, especially the Ela Prabandha Lakshana in this book, you will do huge research and add with your research a huge genre of magnificent compositions, and you will enrich the field of Karnataka music. I request you, can you make a little time? Will you take this book? Will you take a look at it? Do the Chintana Manthana and enrich our music. Namo Namaha.